Stu back with the continuation of our legendary tier list in Raid Shadow Legends. Let's get into it. This is the old setup that I had, or this is where I left off on the last video. I will leave a link below and you'll see it at the end of this video as well. Warlord was down here when we finished the video. He was right here because I just placed him there and I kept talking. Of course, everything I said about him, if you actually watched the video, I said how he is God tier, how he's just so incredible. So if you have Warlord, don't fret, he's right there. These are almost God tiers down here. I explained why in the video previously. Foley can put out damage. Basically any attack person can put out massive damage on the clan boss if they're in the proper team and they're geared properly. It's all about gear. You got to get that gear. You got to get that high level 6-star legendary gear and gear them up. Of course, there's going to be other ones that do better damage. But anyways, this is what we had so far. Valkyrie is right there at it. I mean, she really can turn the tide in PvP depending on what's going on with the turn meter manipulation, depending on what the other team casts buffs or not. And, you know, like I said before, with Altan, if his skill 1 could do the attack down 100% of the time, he would definitely be God tier for clan boss. So let's get into it. Let's go alphabetical order. We will go over to Ayumi Love. That is the internet site that I go to get all my information if I just want to go down the list and see anybody. We already did Abyss, Altan, Angar. All right, let's go see what Angar's got. He is Void, which is always pleasant to have. He has high HP, decent, low attack for a legendary, very low attack, and good, really good defense. Let's see what he's got here. So he does 2 attacks, places an extra hit if the enemy has a provoke debuff. And then it's based off of attack and HP, so that's good. So that's why his attack is so low. He's getting a lot of damage based off of his HP. So that's kind of what I would focus on this guy. I would not put any additional attack on him. You're going to get attack from your weapon, of course. But as far as gear goes, for your gloves, your chest, and your boots, I would not go attack percentage. I would go defense. I would go HP percentage to get him tankier and to still do more damage. So that's the way to go with him. Get that HP percentage, get his HP up, and you're going to be dealing some massive damage. He attacks twice. Okay, the second hit attacks one enemy 1 time at random, places a provoke debuff, and placing the 30% reflect damage buff on all enemies. So I've seen this guy run some runs on Twitch. And we were doing Fire Knights 20. It was so funny. We were running through all these things with all these legendaries to complete Fire Knights 20 for the first time. And so we had mentioned throw him in there just to try him out with the reflect, because when you reflect from the Fire Knight, when he does his AoE, if you have reflect up on all your allies, you're going to hit the Fire Knight shield 5 times. You're not trying to do massive damage back to the Fire Knight, but you're trying to bring down that 10 shield. But it will reflect back and hit him 5 times, so that shield will go from 10 to 5 immediately if you have reflect up. So we tried him out there. It didn't work out too well. He was geared well. I mean, he's got plenty of gear. He had awesome gear on him. And then the provoke debuff attack, his passive here has a 40% chance of placing a provoke debuff on them for 1 turn. Each hit taken will reduce damage taken by 2% up to 10% in 1 round. Okay, it's just, this guy sounds like a really cool guy if we had something like a tower in the game where there's a 100-floor tower. A lot of turn-based gacha games have them. I'm not going to name them all off. A lot of them. New ones that just came out have a tower just like this too. But he looks like he'd be really good for something like that, because normally the bosses at certain stages, 10, 20, 30, 40, whenever there's a big boss, you can still do provoke and taunt. Things you can't do to our normal bosses right now, like our dragon, our Fire Knight, we can't provoke them. But those kind of bosses you normally would be able to, and they're, as you get higher up in those towers or abysses, whatever they want to call them, they get really hard. And having a guy like this that can provoke is very good. So in a situation like that, he would be fantastic. Right now, for just the state of the game and how we play, how we go through the stage 20s and do clan boss, nightmare clan boss, he is not really useful for a lot that I can see. I can see he could put out some damage, sure, but besides that, this provoke isn't going to work on the bosses. It'll work on waves to help you out with waves, but if you're really in game, you're not going to be worried about that. And it's not if it was an AoE provoke like Martyr, then I could get down with saying, hey, if he could do an AoE provoke here and then also do this reflect damage, so that your team has reflect, that would be really cool. That would be worth it. I think it would make this guy a lot stronger to get through waves. But the way he is right now, I'm just going to put him in, you know, I'm going to put him in the almost god tier, or maybe needs improvement. Honestly, for a Void, I think he needs improvement. He definitely, just because the state of the game. Like I said, if we had ways to use him, other ways, let me know if I'm wrong. Tell me about Angar. Let me know where you would use him, where he really thrives, and that way we'll all know. So let's go on to the next one. What do we got? Arbiter? Arbiter. Okay, here she is. So she has 4 skills and a passive. That's really cool. We're gonna get her at the end of doing our missions. If we ever get done completing our missions, I still have to 6-star ascend some people. It tells me I have to do spirit next. All I'm stuck is behind that. Doing the clan boss damage is easy. Doing everything else, spiders 20, auto, no problem. All that kind of stuff's no problem. So I will eventually have her once I get off my lazy butt and start 6-starring people, which I can do. I'm just waiting for balancing. I'm waiting for next month. We get balancing and see what's good, what's not, what's changed. Maybe I want to 6-star somebody else. So attack one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 30%, 30, 40, 50% chance to place the 25% weakening debuff for 2 turns. That's great. You could do that on clan boss. You could do that on any bosses. Attacks all enemies. 100% chance to decrease the duration of all enemy buffs. That is always great. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, and then fills the turn meter of all allies by 30%, placing an increased attack buff for 2 turns, and heals them all by 25% of their max HP. Only if they have less than 50% HP. So that is good, but it's not as cool as I would like. But she has so much going for her. She revives dead allies and fills their turn meter by 20% and gets an extra turn if she actually revives somebody. Excuse me. So I assume on auto she would do this anyways. I haven't seen gameplay of her, but since it says grants an extra turn if this champion, if an ally was successfully revived, I would assume that she's going to do this on auto anyways. So you're going to get turn meter increase, which is fine. I'd rather her do this on auto, and then, you know, that way if you're so good, you're not worried about any of your champions dying. She at least increases your turn meter with this. And then if somebody else dies, she'll catch it later on. You know, 5 turns later, she'll come back and revive them. It won't be a problem. Increase your speed in arena by 30%. That's huge. She's Void, keep in mind. Let's look at her stats. So she's got high HP. She's got really good attack. You know, moderate attack for a legendary, and really good defense though. And then 110 speed, which is phenomenal. So, of course, everybody wants to get her. Everybody should get her. I like her. I really do. I kind of wish. I wish Shaman, our epic that we get at the 7th-day check-in, was a dumbed down version of her. I don't mean as powerful or anywhere close to it. I just wish that Shaman did a heal, some kind of heal, and then also a res, and then that was it. There was another legendary I was looking at that was like that I actually compared to Shaman. Let's go to that. So Arbiter for sure is top tier. She's great. I don't think she's amazingly broken, but I think she has a lot going for her, and I'd have to see the damage numbers. I'm sure she can put out the damage, and as you can tell, she can do a lot for the team. Who was it? Raglan? Let's go over here and look at this one. This is the one. This is also a Void. We're looking at a lot of Voids today. So great HP, you know, moderate attack, and then good defense for a legendary 104 speed. But she fills the random allies turn meter by 15%. That's cool. Removes all debuff on all allies, then heals them. The heal amount is proportionate to this champion's attack. So, all right. So you're gonna have to fill her up with attack instead of trying to get her defensive wise. And really for her attack, she's not doing an AoE attack. See, I would like this if this did an AoE attack and then filled them, you know, remove the debuffs and heals your allies by proportionate to this champion's attack, then I could understand that and get down with that. But right now all she's doing is a revive and fills the turn meter, which is very cool. It's on a long cooldown, 6 turns for a legendary. She's a Void as well, keep in mind. She has a nice leader skill, a nice aura, but I don't know. She just doesn't have. If I'm gonna be basing all of her stuff off of attack, I want to see a good move. I want to see a good attack. All she's got is her skill 1, and then she's filling the turn meter by 15%, which is good, granted. But if I'm gonna be boosting up her attack to be able to get some heals in there, then I need to see something like an AoE so that we can really have some fun with building up her attack. This doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I really don't like the design of this champion for a legendary for sure, but this is another one I was just commenting on a minute ago about Shaman. Shaman I wish was actually designed like this. I wish Shaman would be redesigned to do a heal for everybody and then also a revive. Lower versions of all this stuff, of course. We don't really need Shaman's attack buff and whatever else buff for new players, but for new players to get a good epic healer that also has a revive, even on a long-term cooldown, is still fine. It's a really good. It will help progression. It will help all new players. Anyways, we're getting off topic. This is legendary. Sorry, this is legendary tier list. So this legendary, I'm not a real fan of. I'm gonna put her down as it needs some work. Let's go ahead. We're gonna go Arbiter. We're gonna put her up here with Warlord, of course, and then we're gonna go. Where is she? Where is she? Here she is. We're gonna put her. Is that her? I don't think that. Yeah, that's her. She's got a really cool armor look to her, but yeah, I'm gonna put her down and needs some work. She looks like she could really use some work. So let's go on to the next one that we have, alphabetical order. Stu, I really took us off track then. We are going to go to Astral. Is that her name? Astral? Okay, so this model is actually pretty cool. I haven't really seen this played. I've never seen this character, this champion, in action before. So I know this is one of the ones that are being buffed. So if you have this champion, feel good about it. Next month, this champion could be the most overpowered champion there is out there. So don't feel bad that you have it. It's a Dark Elf legendary. They have good stats. I'm not even too worried about what this is right now because it's going to be buffed, but right now it fills the turn meter of a random ally by 15%, fills the turn meter by 30% if this attack is critical. That's actually a lot, 30%. And then places 2 bomb debuffs that detonate after 2 turns. Okay, I didn't even know this person did bombs. Exchange remaining HP levels with target enemy, then attacks with a default skill. Cannot be used on the boss. Okay, I guess, you know, like I said, if PvP was totally different and we had kind of stall games, this could be cool. If she was down low, she could exchange the HP levels to get the high one, to give them her low HP, and then attack somebody. It's all still too situational for a legendary. And then you attack and place 2 bomb debuffs that detonate after 2 turns. I mean, you have Lord Shazar out there who's doing an AoE, can place 2 on an AoE, and then if you crit, it's on a 1-turn cooldown, and then you've got this person barely doing much, along with having this exchange judgment. So I can see why this person needs to be balanced. I hope they make her really cool. I guess we'll see soon. So we already know we're going to go ahead and put her down here on it needs some work. Who do we have next? Who's this, Baron or somebody? Let's see. We are going down to Baron. Okay. Baron is another Void legendary, has lower HP, has really high attack, good defense. This guy can put out some damage, will attack all remaining enemies with any surplus damage if the target is killed. Has a 10% chance to unlock a secret skill, Sky Piercer, for 1 turn. Sky Piercer attacks all enemies, deals pure damage, will ignore shields, block damage buffs. I've seen this guy, I've been hit with this guy before in arena. I don't know if you've been hit with him before. With this Sky Piercer, you're dead. It hurts. It really hurts. It gives you pure damage, so it doesn't matter if you have high defense. It does help to have high HP, of course, but you're just going to get hit with so much damage that it really hurts, and it goes through shield and block damage buffs. It's crazy. And then his second skill, attacks when enemy places the decreased defense. This debuff is guaranteed, which is fantastic. Has a 20% chance to unlock the secret Sky Piercer skill. Again, it's situational for this to happen, but when it happens, it's like fireworks going off. It's amazing. So this guy's really good. He's really good for what he does. That's a prize hit that can do some massive damage. I would like to actually play this guy in waves because you're going to have some fun, you know, going through waves over and over, and you're going to see this proc and happen, and it's really just going to blow the waves away. So he would be fun to play for sure. So let's go over here and put him in. Baron is going to be in okay. He's fine. We don't need to mess with Baron at all. I don't see that we need to go and adjust him any. I don't see that we need to adjust Valkyrie any either, or any of these other people. Him, we need to bring up his attack percentage. He will find a place somewhere. He's a fine attacker. So really all these 3 right here could be moved up to God tier, and it wouldn't bother me. I just don't have a great place to put them right now. Like Foley, I know he can do massive damage, and he is magic, so he's got some places, but in 20, again, we talked about it before, I don't know where I'd put him. She's great for PvP and along with counterattack and everything else. And then Cupidus has his places in all different places with the fire and the AoE attack. So I'm not saying they're bad at all. I'm not saying they're terrible. I would, you know, if I had these, I would bring them. So really, I could put them up here, but I'm just going to make this tier list like this. So this is what we got so far. Let's go on. I'm taking too long. This is why these tier lists take forever. Belem. Let's go see him. He is, again, a Void. We're really hitting, all the Voids are the top of the alphabet, and he has a lot of skills as well. I think they feed off of Xavier, right? Or somebody. Let's see what he's got. He's got low HP. He's got really high attack. He's got good defense. So he attacks when enemy 105 speed, 30% increase crit buff on all allies for 1 turn. That's nice. Places a decreased defense, weakening debuff for 2 turns on 1 enemy. Then attacks them afterwards, placing a 60% increased defense buff on himself. So he does a lot on a 3-turn cooldown. So he lowers their defense, he puts weakening on them so they'll take more damage, and he also increases his own defense. And then he attacks one enemy, will heal his champion equal to any surplus damage if the target is killed. That's not that good. I really think if he's a legendary, he should just heal from whatever damage he does, right? He shouldn't have to kill somebody. And then he attacks one enemy, and this is with, yeah, Xavier's on his team. Places a poison, places a decreased attack, places a decreased speed, places a decreased accuracy, and then he can give crit to everybody. He does a lot of stuff, and I only think he's really good if you have Xavier with you on your team. Other than that, with his stuff here, bring him into Clan Boss, get him some high attack, get him some survivability, get him some lifesteal gear if you need to on there, and bring him into Clan Boss to do the decreased defense and weakening if you need to. But we also have Rosin Scarhide, who you can fuse and do the same thing on the same 3-turn cooldown once you get the cooldown down to 3 turns with him, with Rosin. So, and Rosin's defense based, so it's easier to give him defense. I don't know. This guy is pretty mediocre to me. I think he's pretty cool if you have Xavier, and that would bring him up to another tier. But right now, I'm just not feeling this guy. I don't know what it is, but I just don't think he is that great. So we're going to put him right here. Maybe needs a little bit of work. Maybe you could tweak that one skill to where he could heal from it. I still think he's great. I still think if you compare him with her, then he'll be really good to do all that other stuff. What was the cooldown on the other stuff? 4-turn cooldown. But I just don't see it. And he doesn't have an AoE. I want an AoE on my guys unless it's pure clan boss, unless it's a pure clan boss champion. I really want to see an AoE on at least buffs on all allies. Okay, I really want to see an AoE at least on one skill, even if it's a long cooldown. At least give me one AoE, unless it's just somebody where I'm just going in and fighting the clan boss purely and I don't need it. And that's it. All right, let's go on to who do we have next? What's that weird looking person? Black Knight? Is that Black Knight? Okay, must be. Black Knight here. He has really high HP, attack, defense. Attack one enemy, places a provoke. Here we are with another provoke. Debuff for 1 turn if you crit. I don't. They're legendaries, man. Why are you going to put these stipulations to have to do a crit on them? I can see this on a rare. You know, this is where a legendary doesn't need this to, you know, doesn't need this to happen for it to do the ability, but a rare would need it, right? That's where you have the difference in legendary to rare. You don't want the rares not to have these cool abilities, right? You want them to have them, but you want them to have conditions that they have to meet to do it. But the legendaries shouldn't have to meet those conditions. So a rare should definitely have to crit to provoke. This legendary should not have to crit to provoke. And then he also, on a 3-turn cooldown, places continuous heal buff and 30% increased defense buff on all allies. Oh, wow, and this goes down to a 2-turn cooldown. I did not know this about this guy. Okay, so Black Knight is like a healing champ with the increased defense. I like him. I like him a lot. He's like a bad L, but he doesn't have the poisons that he does, but he also does provoke. And he attacks all enemies. Damage increase according to the amount of HP this champion has lost. That's good. He's provoking. He's taking damage. No problem. And places unkillable buff on this champion for 1 turn if incoming damage exceeds 30% of... Okay, I like this guy a lot, actually. If you can get him, I think he's one of the better legendary healers out there. He will keep your guys topped off. He will keep... oh, he only has a 30% increased defense buff? Oh, that's so funny. Why would this legendary... I mean, it's on a 2-turn cooldown. It's going to always be up. I get that, but still, it doesn't matter. This guy is definitely good. If I could do anything, I would change his increased defense buff to 60% because there are so many people like Steel Skull and others who do a 60% increased defense, and this guy is a legendary. Provoke is nice, but it's not that great. Again, we're talking about provoke. So it's great in waves to get those champions to provoke you. It's great in PvP. Provoke is very annoying, but as far as that, it's not. He does have an AoE. That's what I like about him. He has an AoE that can hit hard. It's on a long cooldown, but that heal, he's one of the better legendary healers again that I've seen. So I think he's pretty cool. I would not mind using him to heal in place of Bad L if I only had him. Now, if I had Bad L, of course I'm going to go with that because Bad L does poisons as well, and you get additional damage when you have poisons up. So I'm going to put him up in, what do you think, down here? Like he's really good, but he's not up there with Bad L, so we're just going to put him down a little bit. All right, who we have? Blind Seer? Is that who that is? Whoa, this video is gonna be forever. The last video was 25 minutes, and I only covered like 16 champions. So I mean, All right, let's see. Blind Seer. If this is the one I've seen in Arena, when I don't kill her first and then she brings everybody else back and then they have a block damage buff on them, it can be really annoying. So she has HP, it's decent, attack, and defense. Her speed is really high. Attacks 3 times at random. Each hit has a 40% chance to decrease the turn meter by 15%. That's very nice, especially in PvP. Places, and PvE actually. Places a shield buff and block debuff buffs on all allies. This shield is proportionate to this champion's max HP. Okay, her max HP is decently high. It's not really high. But the sacrifice revives all dead allies, 35% HP, places a block damage buff on all allies except this champion for 1 turn. This champion will receive damage equal to 25% of their max HP. This will happen even if it kills her. Right. So, increase all allies defense by 42% in dungeons. That is crazy. Just to have her to increase her defense by 42% in dungeons is pretty wild. The part where she takes so much damage when she brings back your champions is a little bit crazy, but you understand why. They're coming back. They're coming back with a block damage buff on them. So it's pretty powerful. Maybe this could be tuned a little bit to where she's not taking as much damage. It is on a 6-turn cooldown. So, and she does do the shields to herself. I think if anything, we could do her self-sacrifice to where she doesn't take as much damage. But other than that, I know there are ways to use her where she won't die, where you do this, and it's very powerful. So she has a place. People use her. She's pretty cool. I'm gonna put her up here. What? Right in between? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? She should be there. I don't know. For what she does, for the revive to come back in Arena, for the shield, she's pretty cool. And she's void, so that makes her even stronger. I would think she's right in between here. She's right in between. Maybe she could be tweaked a little bit with that last skill, but she's definitely up there with God tier for what she does in Arena when she brings everybody back, because you have to deal with her. If you don't deal with her, then she's going to bring them back and they're going to have a block damage buffs on her. So we'll put her right there. I think in Arena though, she's pretty God tier. There are teams out there in game that are just crazy with her. I've seen it. I've seen people talk about it. So let's go. Blood Gorged. Blood Gorged? I have this guy on my alt account, the one who runs my other clan, and I haven't really gotten into him too much. He does place the decreased defense, and he hits 2 times, and he also has a 3 hit at random, puts the target skills on max cooldown. Puts the target skills on cooldown, which again, that's only for waves, not for bosses. And attacks when enemy will ignore defense. Enemies killed by the skill cannot be revived. So that's very strong as well. But it's not an AoE. He doesn't have like a main AoE for me to take into Arena to really take advantage of all this stuff. Putting the skills on cooldown 3 times at random is pretty cool, but it'd be much more fun if this guy did an AoE and just put their skills on cooldown. Then that would be really cool, right? And then he also does the skill that ignores defense. He has a good kit. He really does. He even for clan boss or bosses with a decreased defense, we got Foley out there that can do the same thing. He's force, so he can go, dragons 20, and he could actually be used in Fire Knights 20 would be nice, especially with the 3 hits and the 2 hits. I would use him in Fire Knights 20, and the ignore defense is really strong in Arena. I'm sure it hits really hard if you have really good gear on him. He's got good HP. He's got really high HP and really high attack. I don't know. I think this guy can hit really hard. With that much HP and this much attack, you could really go all out with some real good attack, crit damage, and do some numbers with him. I haven't seen him. I always see Nithril or somebody like that on the clan boss doing crazy damage, because they also can do the crazy damage but also provide the poisons to do more damage. So I don't know, I'm going to put him up here as just, almost up there. Maybe he needs a little bit more to be up here with the top tier people to be doing really well at a specific job, like Ignatius does with spiders. They have a job that they're just fantastic with that AoE burn on people, or Lord Shazar with his 1-turn bomb that he can put on you in Arena. That's why he's here. If you watch the last video, that's why I put these at certain areas. There are jobs in the game, roles in the game that they are specifically super good for, and that's what we're using them for. That's why they're up here on these tiers. Not because they're overall good, like Martyr and Badel or Warlord is good anywhere. It's not necessarily that they're good everywhere. If you watch my last video, it's because they have specific roles to fill in the game, and they are really good at that role. So that makes them top tier for at least that role, and that's all we need them to be, right? Top tier for that role. Let's go over one more, and then I actually have to call this video because my daughter's about to get off the bus in the front of our house in about 5 minutes. So we will carry this on to the next video. I do apologize. Let's see where we're at. We have Bystophis. Is that how you say it? A lot of people say they don't know, but looks like that. So we're going to go with it. He's Knight's Revenant. He's Force. He has low HP. He has super high attack. I've never seen anybody with this high of attack that I can remember. I'm sure there are, but that attack is stupid high, really high. And then low defense for a legendary as well. So you would think this guy could put out some crazy numbers. I've seen people try him out. I think this might be one of the champions that are going to get balance. I really have a feeling. So places the blocks cooldown skill. This is not a favorable skill for us to have. Nobody really cares about that much, the block skill cooldown, unless you're in PvP and you get hit with it, and then you're like, oh man. Attacks all enemies, inflicts a critical hit against targets under. See, and then he has this stipulation that debuffs, heals by 20%. See, it should inflict critical damage against targets under something. Honestly, a three turn AoE with a guy this strong can't always critical hit. I understand that. It would just be way too strong. Way too strong. And if it did always critical hit, he wouldn't need to be rebalanced. This guy would be good. He would be taken in a lot of places and just 3-turn AoE, and you know, you wouldn't even have to worry about crit. You would just load him up on crit damage and attack, and he'd be good to go. He'd be fun, and every, you know, people would be using him. And then his crumble attacks 4 times at random. Each hit has a 50% chance to place the blocks cooldown skills debuff for 2 turns. Each hit 75% chance to place the 60% decreased defense. So I don't know. And then he's got the accuracy for all battles. I really have a feeling he's going to be buffed. He has low HP, low defense. He has crazy attack. I could see him putting out some really numbers on this 3-turn cooldown. I could see him being used in waves to clear stuff. Him being forced doesn't really let him go into spiders 20 or Golem 20, and those are one of the really big things. If you have somebody like this and they can't go into spiders 20 with a 3-turn cooldown, they can really do some cool things, then it's just not that great. PvP, you know, his speed is at 94, so to get his speed up to where he's really viable with your speed boost, and even with your speed boost and everything else, he's going to get taken out easily. He might do really well. I don't know. I don't have him. I haven't faced him, so I haven't seen people use him. So we're just going to put him down as maybe needs some work. If he was redone a little bit differently, I think he could be really strong. We're going to put him down here. I think he could be really strong in certain situations if they just tweak him a little bit. You know, change this a little bit to where he can crit. You know, maybe put 50% chance to crit or something like that, or add an additional I don't know, something on there. Anyways, I gotta go, guys. I appreciate everybody for watching. This is wait, let's get back to where we can see where we have so far. Let's get back to this. So we have the God tier list, if that's what you want to call it. It's just basically everybody who's really good at a certain spot of the game, or who's just really good overall. Then we have people who are really good at the game but could use, you know, that are just, you know, maybe outmatched by Martyr right here with Valkyrie, but Valkyrie is really good in PvP. So if you can do, you know, depending on if the enemy is doing buffs to themselves right away and lowering the turn meters, and then her also doing counterattacks and doing buffs. So it just depends. Let me know your feelings, let me know your thoughts, let me know what you think. As always, like and subscribe, help me grow. You'll see the SG over my head. You'll see some videos you can look at as well. And that is pretty much all I've got. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next video.